Hello fam, it's Davi here and I'm back at you with another video, and today we are going to be revisiting one of my popular tutorials, the bandana bomber jacket. Alright guys, so you're going to need a total of 9 bandanas for the outer layer, 9 bandanas for the lining if you choose to do bandanas. For each bandana that's whole, you're going to go ahead and cut one in half and add that half to a whole bandana. And you're going to do that in a total of 6 times. So I have in this stack 2 red whole bandanas attached to one half. So if you really add them all together, that's 3 together. But one is cut in half and sewn like that. So there's 2 there, because that's going to be my sleeves. And then I did the same thing with the lining. So there's 4 layers here. But one is in the lining. You can see I went ahead and sewn half of a bandana to that. So those are all sleeves. For the front of the jacket, you're going to do the same thing as you did for the sleeves, because we're going to cut the pattern for the front of the jacket out of that. So this is literally the same as the stack I just showed you prior, but this one's going to be cut a different pattern. Now for the back of the jacket, you're going to need 1 full and a half 2 times, and then you're going to sew the full and a half together to make one big panel, like a big square, and do the same thing for the white. All right, so yeah, so this is essentially one big square, 2 solids bandanas on the bottom with 2 halves on the top. So really it's 3 bandanas in total, but this is how you want the back panel to look to cut for the back of the jacket. And you want to do the same thing in white if you're using a lining of bandanas. And make sure you put the full ones next to the full ones and the half next to the half and attach it all together. Alright, so now let's cut out the patterns. Take the full, put the right side in, fold it in half, line up the edges. Get it flat. Do the same thing with the red. Similar as the one that's already there. Now grab the single pieces for the front of the jacket, sides together. So I got 2 pieces here, right sides together. And I'm lining it up the same way as the ones I have here. Everything as smooth as possible. And do the same thing with the 2 white ones. So you should have 4 sets of 1.5 bandanas untouched, because 2 of them are for your lining of your sleeves and 2 are for the outer part of the jacket for your sleeves. So those you should have not touched in this part. Take a t-shirt, hoodie, jacket, whatever you have already. Take it a size up from what you already have and use it as a pattern to cut out my jacket. So I've folded it in half, lining it up with this edge. Different elements of the jacket. Do not throw this away. This little piece, you can keep. So before you disturb this, you are going to need to cut a similar pieces in your batting, the padding of the jacket. So let me go ahead and grab that. This is the batting I purchased. It's my first time using this, so we'll see how it goes. I normally do use the batting that's kind of like puffball and peel apart, but I'm trying something different this time. So we'll see how it works. This is how it looks. It's pretty big. It is pretty thin, so I think I'm going to be folding it in half for thickness and go from there. Alright guys, so I'm cutting the same thing in this batting here. I normally don't use this. I normally use the one that you can like peel apart, like pillow stuffing. So just looking at it from what I bought, I definitely can see I would need more than what I have. So I'm going to cut the front jacket pieces. So I folded this in a way that I have 4 layers that I'm going to be cutting through. And I'll use that for the jacket front at least. So I'm just getting it flat with 4 pieces in the front lined up. So I can take this front pieces and line them up here. Alright guys, so this is where we are. So once you've cut the t-shirt or the jacket or whatever you're using as a pattern on top of your layers of bandanas that you lined up, you're going to have 2 front pieces for the outer jacket, 2 front pieces for the lining, 2 front pieces for the batting, 1 back piece for the lining. Then you should have the back piece for the lining here and an outer piece, but mine came out into 2 pieces when I cut it out. Because of the way I had it folded. This was the big panel of bandana, that the 2 big ones that we had. It came out like this. So to get it to be one big piece again for the back of the jacket, just flip it over and sew straight down so it can be one whole piece that would look like this. Alright, so I've sewn these 2 pieces back together so it makes one big back panel and one big front panel. So now I'm going to come up here, grab a front panel batting, front panel outer layer, put it on top, and I want the side that I want outside the jacket that everyone would see to be on top, and you're gonna line it up. Okay, so what you're gonna do next is you're gonna want a ruler, because I'm going to do some angled lines that I'm going to put as a guide. I'm going to sew, and I want to make sure I have it equal because I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. gone ahead and marked an angle where I want to top stitch on here, make sure it's equal distance, and I'm going to transfer the same guide of where I'm going to sew lines onto the other side of the jacket panel. Alright, so you can see the lines that I've stitched. That's why it's important to measure to make sure they are lining up so it doesn't look off when you do put your jacket on. Alright, so this front pieces have style lines. The back piece also has them. I did it at a downward arrow pointed kind of slant. So now I'm just waiting on my Circuit machine to finish cutting out the letters of my brand name so I can press it on this elastic so I can have some pre-made. Next I'm going to go ahead and attach the lining pieces together. I'm not doing any of the batting, but I think going in the future I would want to use 4 layers for a more puffier look in thickness, but or do the same thing that I'm doing to the outer layer, to the batting, the lining as well, but trial and error. Alright guys, so I have a full back piece, right side up. I'm going to take a front piece, right side down, line it up. So it should open up. And I'm going to sew the shoulder seams on both sides, leave the armholes open, and come down and sew the side seams so we can begin putting the lining together. Alright, so I've sewn the lining, front pieces and back piece together. So now I can kind of just put this to the side for now, and still cutting out the letters to my brand names I'm going to add onto the jacket. So let's work on the sleeves. We still have 4 bandanas, 2 for the outer part of the jacket, 2 for the lining untouched, and these are whole bandanas attached to a half at the end. I am putting right sides together. They line up. And doing the same thing with what I'm doing for my lining. Right sides together, so I can cut it all at one time. Make sure it's flat. And then you're going to fold it hot dog style, all 4 layers. So to avoid as much hemming as possible, I'm going to use the end of the bandana that isn't cut. All the half ends are over here. So this will be the bottom of my sleeve since it's already kind of hemmed. Even though this isn't going to be the finished edge of the sleeve, it's just easier. So now we're going to take a sleeve that we already have and use it as a pattern, same as we did for the t-shirt, to cut around. Until I get some more of the batting so I can do a similar outer top stitch. But the white one, we can go ahead and attach to the lining outer end. So I cut out my brand name. I'm going to heat press it onto the elastic so I can have like my own kind of branded trimming. See how it works. So as far as the placement on the jacket, I do want it on one panel. So I'm going to top stitch this here. I'm not going along the lines of what I did, just random across. Alright y'all, so gone ahead and made a long casing that I folded over for the bottom of the jacket. But I went ahead and pressed it so it's flat, but this is where I'm going to be sliding the elastic through at the bottom of the jacket, but we're a long way from using this. I just went ahead and did it. Also went ahead and cut out the sleeves for the red part of the jacket and the lining. So the white sleeves to the lining, I'm going to go ahead and add it to that piece I made. But right now I'm working on the pockets of the jacket. Now for the pockets, I am going to be using some of the batting that's kind of like stuffing. So the jacket pockets can also be like puff-like. So this piece right here, you want to cut out a square at least big as your hand. Trial and error, guys. Making sure it's going to fit on the jacket. Okay, so you want to cut out 2 pieces per pocket that are 10 by 8. Put right sides together, stitch all the way around and leave a small opening. So basically make a small pillow, leave a small opening so you can add stuffing, and we'll be right back. So I've done 2, basically made 2 pillows, left a small opening, flip it inside out. Push the corners out so it's nice and crisp. Alright, so now I'm going to take some of this batting. A little goes a long way. Kind of break it apart so it's not one big chunky piece. Fill it in. You don't want this to be super packed like a pillow. You only want like a light layer. Maybe make it 1 inch wide if filling it wise. So get it in there, kind of spread it around. So it's still very flat because we're going to pin this close where the opening is and then stitch a line in the middle of this so it can have the same kind of effect as the jacket. Alright, so here are my pockets. Not super on swole, just enough batting in there. So now I'm going to place them on here equally. Make sure they're even. And then I want my pocket to open at an angle. So I'm going to put them on here at an angle. And wherever I find it's equal, I'm going to pin it. And I want to sew from here, 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 and leave this side of the square open so the hands can go in. Alright guys, so for the sleeve I went ahead and did one. I went ahead and did the same fashion as the outer part with the batting. Only thing is I did 1 diagonal stitch, as you can see here. Then once that was done, I did close the sleeve up. This is just my decorative. And then I attached that sleeve to the jacket. So we do have 1 sleeve on the outer portion of the jacket and pockets. So I'll do the other sleeve here in a moment. And then you already saw I cut out the casing for the bottom of the jacket with the elastic. So now I went ahead and cut out the collar. To get the collar, now that the front and back pieces of the jacket are together, I went ahead and got a measuring tape and went around the collar to see what number that was, and then I was able to cut a piece that same length, close it, and then left 1 opening so I can put the stuffing in it like we did the pocket. So basically a pillow, a rectangle one, and then I want to put the stuffing. this is the lining. I have the front pieces attached to the back, and I have my sleeves. I went ahead and pinned the collar to the outer layer. I'm going to pin the elastic band for the bottom of the jacket to the bottom, add the sleeve, and then I'm going to show you how to add the lining. Guys, so here we are. We have both sleeves attached. I went ahead and added the elastic band on the bottom. You want to flip it right sides facing up and pin it all the way around. So this is the raw part, this is a fold. If I flap it down, it will be the side I want seen on the jacket. And then the same thing up here with the collar. Told you how I measured around, still was short, but you know, don't do what I do. And then you want to fill it up like a mini pillow, top stitch it closed, and then pin it around the collar of the jacket. Flip down. So the collar is flipped down, the elastic band is flipped up. So we're now gonna add the lining, so it's easier to flip the jacket right side up, put the sleeves onto the center of the jacket, and have everything flat. Have this flipped down, collar, have the band flipped up. Now you want to add the lining, just plop it on top. But if you notice the outside, well, the seams, the part that you don't want seam is what's facing up. You want to put the lining on top of the jacket with right sides facing together. And then you're going to go in this armhole and grab the sleeve that's over here and pull it through. Go in this armhole and grab this red sleeve and pull it through. So you're basically putting a jacket on the red jacket. Alright, so here we are. I pulled the red jacket through the sleeve, red jacket through the sleeve. And now you can see that basically the outer jacket is wearing the lining. So now all you want to do is go around and pin neatly the collar, the sides, the bottom of the jacket. Leave the sleeves like this. Don't pin or sew these closed. And then you're going to leave at the bottom. I like to do it towards the bottom where the casing is, or the bottom of the jacket. I like to leave a small opening big enough to where I can flip all of this inside out. So I flipped the jacket right side out. As you can see, it is now fully lined, nice and clean. But down here where I flipped it inside out is the hole, so we're just going to flatten everything out, smooth it out, and top stitch this close. After that, we're going to then feed some elastic through the casing through the bottom, zigzag stitch it down in place, and then if you want, you can add a zipper, which I will, and we'll be done.